Welcome, my name is Trevor Jagger, and today I'd like to show you my homemade brewing rig. It is a 5-gallon system. It does 5-gallon batches, so 10-gallon pots, and it is a HERMS system that runs off from propane, and it's all low pressure propane. Here, that is the boil kettle right there, which is not going right now. And then right next to it is the hot liquor tank. As you can see, these inlet and outlet right here, those are the coil that is inside of the hot liquor tank. Got your sight glass that I do all my markings so I know what volumes I got and everything like that. And if you look down inside of there, you can see the coil itself. That it recirculates through, and then the water inside of there is basically the medium to hold a consistent temperature throughout the mashing process. And then you can also reverse it and then use it during the cooling process too. It's a really nice setup. You see a lot of these HERMS systems in electric brewing systems, and I originally was going to build an electric system, but I just didn't have the space in my basement, so I decided to go gas once I moved out to the garage. Has 2 pumps right there. I just put my grains in right now, so I'm just starting the mashing process, just bringing it back up to temperature. I dropped a few degrees lower than what I would have liked, so it's coming back up. I use a cooler instead of another stainless steel. With the HERMS system, it's just a super efficient, real easy on gas. I use that tank right there. Will do about 8 to 9 batches of beer from start to finish, so through the boil and everything like that. And you got a little glimpse of my control panel right here. Built that myself. It is a PID that runs the hot liquor tank. It's all automatic. You set it and it will turn off and on the burner as required. It has a timer which I need to set as soon as the temperature comes back up on the grains in the mash tun. 2 switches right there, one for each of the pumps, and then the blue little lights right there, and the switches are right below it. And then you look over here, you have a white light and then another white light next to it with some switches above it. And those are the switches to turn on and off the burner for it. That's kind of gives it the main power, and then once you give it the main power, the PID takes over on that. The boil kettle does not run off from the PID. It's just you turn it on and she goes to town. So today I am brewing a Belgian double. So I just threw my grains in there just a few minutes ago, and here's some of my other brewing equipment, a little storage area where I keep most of my glass stuff and measuring so it doesn't get broke. I have 2 freezers that I use as fermentation chambers right now. They're just on freezer mode right now. They don't have the heaters, or they're actually nothing's plugged into them or anything like that. They're just acting as thermostats, which I need to convert this one back over to the fermentation chamber here so I can get it all set up. Put the fan, I have a fan in it that runs it, recirculates, and then has a little space heater, as you can see right here, that in the winter time it does get pretty cold out here in Utah, so it just keeps the temperature nice and steady throughout it. And then over here is kind of a few of my beers in there, and then here's the yeast starters right there. So I just took those off the stir plate a few minutes ago, and I have 2 of them in here. When you're probably wondering why, I didn't realize when I got home from the brew store that one of the packages of yeast was from June, so it only had like 20% viability, and I just didn't have enough time to step it up. So went back to the brew store and got another snap pack of the Y yeast, and I'm using that Belgian Abbey 2 today. So, and then I just got that other snap pack and made another starter, everything like that. So I have 4 beers on tap. I have a Pale Ale, an IPA, a Saison, and then I have a California Comet, a steam beer back there. And then downstairs in the actual bar area, I have a pumpkin stout that is being served on nitro. And here's the rest of my stuff. This is kind of all my yeast nutrients and stuff I use to adjust my water. I do not use tap water. I use a Mount Olympus spring water. The water here in Utah, the pH level is really high, and the bicarbonate levels are really high. It's just not good for brewing. There's no way to adjust it. So I use the spring water, which I sent off to Ward Laboratories, and they did a testing on it to see exactly what I had. I have an extra one in case I just ever want to send off another water sample. And got it back, and so I build my water off from Mount Olympus spring water for all my brewing. Just simple build. Just distilled water for all my testing equipment, and a little bit of extra Mount Olympus spring water here. So you never want to use tap water because of, well, unless you're treating it with either Campton tablets or boiling it prior to just the chlorine and everything like that. So, like I said, I got my grains in there. Looks like I am back up to temperature, so I will start the timer. So let's take a look here in the mash tun. It's a little steamy. It's got an auto sparge arm in it and everything like that. So when I do go to sparge, it makes it really simple to set the pumps. Takes the guessing right out of it, so you have the same amount of water coming in and the same amount of water going out. So we'll come over here and I will set the timer here. We're going to do a 90-minute mash on this one. And we'll come down here to this green button, and that starts it, as you can see. And then this button right down here is for, I can do a reset on it and then start it again. The timer. And now we're exactly at 148 degrees in a hot liquor tank. So I will put the lid back on the hot liquor tank right now, and she should hold for the next 90 minutes. It might cycle on 1 or 2 times, the burner itself, but like I said, this is a super efficient system. It's a HERMS system, 5-gallon system. I'll take you around to the back. You can see the counterflow wort chiller, the hot back right there. And then these are the valves that I was talking about. These are just some Honeywell valves. They're 24 volts, so I do have a step down in my control panel. Take it from 110 or 120 volt down to 24 volt. And then I also have these little knobs right here. So I really set my system up to go to 20-gallon batches in the future. And it's not so much of a problem on the hot liquor tank, but on the boil burner with these BG14 Bayou Classic burners, the BTUs on them is just so high that you really have to dial in your boil with this knob once you get it all going and everything like that. But it's a really nice system. You can see the plumbing and all the extra hoses and everything right back here. It's a pretty self-contained little unit that I built. So